I can't believe this happened.
Good morning. Welcome back. Unless you're new to the channel, if you're new to the channel, my name is Brett. I ride mules in the backcountry with some hound dogs. See these little things right here? See this little thing right here? This is what I use to track my dogs. It's made by Garmin. This one's a 300i. The other one I had was a 200i. The I stands for inReach. And inReach is a satellite messenger service that we can use to send messages back and forth to family, friends, or whoever. And it also has an SOS button on it where if you get in a jam, you can press that SOS button and it means I need help and they'll come help you. I just got back from a journey I took up into what we would call down here high country. I mean, it's high desert, but it's high country, big pine trees, beautiful country. And I took some dogs, I took the mules, and I packed in. Going in the woods, these are super good. It's a GPS, it's got maps on it, you can see where you're going. I mean, I don't know how we used to get along with them without them in the old days. I went up, like I said, I went up to some high country, I packed in some country that my dad started taking me in when I was a little kid. And matter of fact, it's the first place I went in. Every year we went in there deer hunting. This is back in the old days where you just bought your tag over the counter. You got bear, turkey, and deer. And my dad started taking me in there. And it's a real magical place to me. I don't know, ever since I was a little kid, when we went in there, I mean, the first time I went in there, I rode double behind my brother-in-law. That's how small I was. I was probably about, I don't know, 8 years old, something like that, 7, 8 years old. And then, but every year, deer hunting season, it's just all I could think of to be able to go and get back up in there. And after I got older, I went back in there a few times by myself. I took my wife, my ex-wife now, I took her back up in there. I took me and my brother-in-law, married my little sister, I took him in there several times and we deer hunted. And I took my grandson up in there, but I haven't gone back as much as I wanted to. And so this time I decided I was going to go. There's old saddle maker, Mr. Mars, and I was going to try to get up to his camp. But anyway, watch the video, like, subscribe, do all that stuff they say you're supposed to do, and yeah, watch this video. It was a good time.
I was headed to the Gila Wilderness. It's in southwestern New Mexico, and what I thought was only about 3-hour drive from the house. The Gila was designated a wilderness area on June 3rd, 1924, which made it the first wilderness area in the United States. I guess probably in the world. And I remember asking my dad when I was just a little kid and we were heading up here, so what is a wilderness, Dad? And he said, it's a place where you can't take motor vehicles, cars, or trucks, or anything. You have to walk or ride a horse. And I thought, that is the greatest thing I ever heard in my life. I'm here, finally. Seemed like it took forever. Long drive. I'll just pack up and get up the mountain. Onward and upward, boys. That's the watchword. All these places bring back memories. When I was not a kid, this was after I was already older. We were coming through here and there was a couple guys, and you could kind of tell by their pack outfit, they didn't really know what they were doing. And right in here, we ran into them, and they said, man, this was in the November deer hunt season. We were deer hunting up here, me and a buddy of mine. They said, man, we're going up there to McKenna Park or Woodland Park, one of those places way up high. And this was in November, so it was real cold. We were elk hunting up there earlier, and we seen deer up there that looked like elk. We're going up there to get one. I said, man, that sounds like a plan. So it was probably 3 days later, we met them coming out. And I mean, these poor guys were frozen and they were miserable. They had lost a mule, their pack outfit. I mean, they looked terrible. They said, wow, they said, this is tough. We're going home. It's just too damn cold. And, you know, they just weren't prepared. Probably didn't know anything about horses or mules or anything. They just seen other guys doing it thinking, nah, it's easy. Because there's a lot of little subtle things and nuances that a person really doesn't know until they've done it for years and years. And there's not a lot of ways to communicate it about what to do, how to handle different situations, you know. I kind of felt sorry for them, but... And then, one year, I tell all these stories. Down there on the West Fork, me and a buddy of mine were I was camped by myself. I was up here deer hunting, and I shot a little buck. And there was two guys, and I had a big old fire right there, pretty close to where my truck is parked now. I was just day riding out and hunting, and I had a big old fire made, and I was sitting out there drinking coffee, and here they came, 90 miles an hour. And there's two young boys, and one of them, I mean, he was cold, he was frozen, and he was soaking wet. Said, man, can we sit by your fire for a little while? I said, yeah, no problem. I said, you guys, you know, you want a cup of coffee? Oh, please, something warm would sure help. And they got by the fire, and I looked at that one boy, and I said, man, you're wet. I mean, and he was soaking, dripping wet. And this trail that goes up through here, I think they call it the Zigzag Trail or something like that. It crosses the West Fork like 5,000 times. And I guess he was crossing the river, and his horse slipped and fell down, and he was dumped in the river. And he was wet and cold. I got them all warmed up and everything, and then they jumped in their truck and took off. They went home. Another story. It was right in here. Me and my brother-in-law were up here deer hunting one year, and we were coming out. I was riding a real young gelding. Anyway, we were coming down through here, and here comes this family of like, there's probably 8 of them, and they're carrying everything on their back, including 2 of them were carrying a big old Coleman cooler. They didn't even have backpacks. No, I guess they had backpacks, but they were carrying so much stuff. I asked them, I said, where are you guys going? They said, well, I don't know, we got to find some water somewhere. I said, man, there ain't no water in here. So we got talking to them and everything. I said, well, you guys camp right up here, and we'll haul you in, you know, we'll pack you in water for your camp. Because they were deer hunting. I said, this is real good deer country. So, and as we were talking to them, they started unpacking. And they had the biggest bottle of Presidente, and that's a kind of a Mexican whiskey. I said, dadgum, I said, we sure could use a shot of that stuff. And they said, you bet, man. And we all sat around and we drank shots of Presidente. And me and my brother-in-law kind of hobbled back to camp down there. The next morning we packed them in water and everything. We'd go back in here, and we were just day riding. And we'd come back in there, and on our way back out, we'd ride up to their camp, get out that bottle of Presidente. We'd all sit around and get about halfway snockered, and then we'd wobble back to camp. Next morning we'd pack them some more stuff, pack them some water if they needed anything from their truck or whatever. It was a pretty good situation. It worked out good for both of us, because time we came out, we were we were pretty tired, and those shots of Presidente, they hit the spot. Worked out real well. As I rode, I kind of realized I was running out of time. I was going to try to make it to that old saddle maker's camp. I'd always heard stories about him and how his camp was set up and where it was at, and I just wanted to get there and camp myself. My dad had always told me stories about his camp and how it was set up, and I was really anxious to see it. Also, there was a spring at his camp, and I wanted to make sure I camped at water. I was going to need to. It's almost 5 o'clock. This is a lot further through here than I thought it would be. So I don't think I'll make it to the spring or to his camp today. I might have to find a place to camp tonight and then try to ride to it tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to come back this way. I think I'm going to circle and go. I might try to go down and hit those hot springs down in the bottom of the Middle Fork there. I ran into one of those Continental Divide hikers, a lady in a tent back there. She was kind of laying up. She had a bad ankle or a bad foot or something. I asked her if she was all right, and she said, yeah, she's just resting for a couple days. Of course, the dogs, they had to all, go over there and get in her tent and say hi. I'm up on top now. I think I'm just going to ride until I find some water, enough to get these mules a drink of water, and then set up my camp, because it's 5:30. I'd like to set up camp in time to kind of enjoy the evening. But I got to find water. So we'll see. Pretty good camp spot right over there. But there's no water. I got to have water. This is where the trail veers off. That trail goes down to the West Fork of the Gila River. That's a steep old climb too. I've been up it and I've been down it. Only a couple times. 4 miles to the meadows. I've been 6 miles. So there's another trail that veers off to the left, and I think it goes to Woodland Park. And that's the way I want to go, unless I hit water before then. If I do, then that's where I'll camp. Woodland Park, that way. Here we go. Onward and upward. I've never been this way before. This is the first time. I've been through here, down that trail, a handful of times, but I've never been this way. So I'm kind of excited. Still says 4.5 miles. That's a long ways. I just hope we can find a tank or something with some water back here before it gets dark. I seen on my Onyx map that there's a tank up here called Big Bear Tank. It's right off. It's going to be right off to the side like that. I hope it's got water in it. If not, I got to keep going further on. There's a tank called it's Woodland Park Tank. It should have water. If not, I'll have to find a spring. Come on, Agnes. And it's fixing to have a lot of water coming out of the sky, I think. Oh well. And then I offered these mules water before I left. Of course, they wouldn't drink. They don't think ahead. Oh man. This is neat country though. It's beautiful. That tank's right down there. And it's dry as a popcorn fart. Well, shoot. I'll just keep riding. It's about 6:30 now. I can ride for another hour. There's a bear walking up the trail in front of us here. I don't know how far in front of us he is. I bet he went down through there. We might be able to see him here in a minute. There. He just went behind those trees across the canyon there. He'll come up right up through there. He's pretty. He's a real cinnamon colored bear. Wish I had a good camera where I could zoom in on him. He's hiding behind that tree right now. He'll probably come out in a minute. He's real pretty color. He's coming. He's coming to us. Sit down and scratch his face. We'll have a runaway mule if he gets here. He's coming. He's still coming. He can't smell me because the wind's blowing right in my face. Let's go get after him. There he is. There he is. Look at him. There he goes. There he goes. He's seen me. Ah, dadgummit. If I'd have sit still, he would have come to me for a little bit closer. But I was kind of about halfway scared that if he got close with the wind blowing at me, these mules get a whiff of him and I might have a hard time holding him back. Whoop, there goes Iris. They know he's there. These dogs aren't bear dogs. You can tell the difference up here. It's a lot greener. They've had some rain. Down below, it was a lot drier, it seemed like. And then I seen some quail back there. Usually that means there's some water somewhere. There's got to be a tank up here somewhere. I just hope I can find it before it gets dark. And I got about another 30 minutes and I got to find a place to camp. And then I'll just have to dry camp tonight and let these mules graze on some of this grass for a while. And then try to find some water first thing in the morning. I mean, if we keep riding, we'll find some, no doubt. Just got such a late start. That's my fault. I should have left earlier this morning, but I had some things to take care of. Hell's Hole, Lily Park, 6 3/4. Hell's Hole 3. West Fork back that way 7. Woodland Park 3/4 of a mile. Pryor Creek 2 3/4. Pryor 2 1/2. Woodland Park 1/2. West Fork 7 1/4 back that way. I think we're gonna make it. Might be cooking my steak in the dark, but we'll have water and we'll have a good camp. I think. I hope. I made it to the water. Look at that. And there's a bunch of water there. Not that I need a bunch, but I need enough. I got about another 20 minutes and it's going to be dark. So I'd like to find an existing fire ring instead of having to make my own. Ooh, that's all spongy. This is an absolute beautiful place. Look at the ducks. Beautiful. Elk and bears and ducks. Drink or you? And there's camp. My GoPro ran out of battery, sorry. But I got the mules unsaddled, got them both hobbled. Agnes hobbled. This Ruth. Now I'm just gonna get a fire started, get my tent set up. And I brought a chair, so I'm gonna sit in my chair and I'm gonna enjoy the evening. I wish I'd have been here about an hour earlier, but it is what it is. I'll do my best. I ain't scared of the dark. My dad, on his end table, I think I already told this story, but he had a little pipe rack and he had like 4 pipes in it, and then in the center he had a tobacco and he used to smoke a pipe. I always thought it looked real, like, I don't know, relaxing. It gave me a feeling I enjoyed, so I went and got me a pipe. I tell you what, it is quiet up here. Woo, it's quiet. I think it's time to go to bed. Oh, me. Hello, Irish. Kind of cozy little place. Well, that ruins that. My inReach won't charge. So if you haven't watched the other video, you can watch the other video. And I let it go dead. And my wife worried about me because I was out. Now she's going to be really worried about me. But the deal was she said, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, well, if you don't hear from me by noon, then try to get a hold of me. Or I got to get out of here. And I can just, if I pack up and just haul, I'll barely get out of here by noon, where I think I can call her and tell her I'm okay. This I can't believe this happened. Oh, I better hurry. It's kind of wet this morning. It rained for, I don't know, probably for an hour in the middle of the night. My rainfly worked good on my tent, but I can't film a whole lot
because I got to get out of here. And I only have one battery left. Batteries have just been a problem on this trip. So I got to get out of here. Not too bad. Everything packed and loaded. I got to get out of here. See if I can make it before noon. My poor wife, she's worried again, I bet. Six and a half miles to the truck. I think I can be there in 2.5 hours, which would put me there at 11:30. That's cutting it really close. Can't waste any time.
See, old Agnes's top end is right at 2.7 miles an hour. Might be a tad faster heading back towards the truck. But I knew there'd be a bunch of these Continental Divide through hikers coming through there. And my hope was that I'd find one that had an in-reach. And sure enough, there they were, right in front of me. So I talked them into sending a message to my wife, telling her I was okay. Come to find out, she had already recruited people to go up and look for me because I was supposed to send her a message that morning. So I never got to spend the night at Mr. Myers' camp. I'm going to, and it'll be on another video coming soon. So as they say, stay tuned. And it really was a good couple days. I look forward to the next trip. We made it 11:35. So I still I might have had time. It depends if I can get my Garmin to work.
Good morning. If you're new to the channel, okay, that didn't work. Let's try it again.